The Red River Farm Network is celebrating women's role in agriculture throughout March with our Agricult-HER segment. And the segment is being made possible by Minnesota Soybean and Research and Promotion Council, Minnesota Corn Growers Association, and AgCountry Farm Credit Services. Bobbi Sondreal is a consultant in succession and retirement planning with AgCountry. Bobbi, thanks a lot for taking time out of your busy day for us. We appreciate that.
Thanks, Jamie.
Well, let's talk about your career path. First of all, how did you get into the business you're in right now? What did that look like?
Well, it's not something I sought out to do, I suppose. When I was little, I didn't think that I was going to grow up to help farmers do succession and retirement planning. But I guess looking back at it at an early age, my parents established a love for agriculture that I wasn't sure I knew right away. In the fact that, they made me go pick voluntary corn, and I stood at the end of the field and complained about it, and my siblings were like, just take her home, she's not helpful. But then looking back, I was like, oh, I really like agriculture. So anyways, after college, I worked in a trust department for a local bank here in town for about 9 years, and then I left there to do some ag lending, and then led me back to AgCountry, where I kind of melded the two together. So I did some financial planning work at the bank and then the agricultural side, and meld those two together, and I get to do that here, and it's pretty awesome.
So, what does a typical day in your line of work look like? When you come in, maybe there isn't a typical day, but if you could, kind of encapsulate that a little bit.
Sure. So I would say there is no typical day, which was a little hard to get used to. I never know what I'm stepping into, but each day I get to meet with customers and learn about their operations and the challenges they're facing and looking for help with. Everybody's different, every operation is different, size, scale, balance sheet, all of the things, personalities. I get to deal with a lot of personalities. So helping guide that. So I'll be in customer meetings most of the time. After that, doing some recaps for customers, and then all of the work that we've agreed to do, I'll be working on that on the backside of that. Lots of random phone calls, just quick questions, wanting to bounce something off of me or whatever, but I appreciate the opportunity to be that sounding board for some people.
So, what would you say is like the most enjoyable part of your job?
I would say really getting to see from beginning to end how people grow and continue to evolve in their relationships. That sounds so crazy that it should be something more agricultural driven, but these family businesses are really hard, and to see people really take them and build them and continue to work together and strengthen their relationships is really fun to watch. And if I can be part of helping that, if there's something standing in the way of that, I feel really lucky.
So, do you think there's anything in your job, maybe, or in your career that people don't understand or don't realize that you do, that might be surprised that would be part of your job?
Honestly, I think every part, every day is like, you do what? You talk to them about what? Because a lot of it is not numbers driven. People continually say to me, "You're the numbers gal," because I'm not doing math in my head anymore. I'm like, no, I'm actually not. I've learned I'm just a personality gal that tries to understand where people are coming from, help them understand where they might need to go, or shifting their mindset. So that would be surprising to me, that I would end up doing that more than, well, I can do the numbers, that's easy. We need this payment, that amount, whatever, that's the easy part. But I think that's surprising to me sometimes, that that's not the stuff that matters to these people. They're really needing help in a different way.
Well, and like you said, they're needing help, and this is an important thing, and so getting people to understand that they need this service, they need that is very important too, right?
Yeah, it's very easy to look the other way and do the things that you love to do: plant the field, harvest the field, manage the day-to-day operations of the farm, which is what they like to do, and turn the other cheek when it's talk about something that might be tough or uncomfortable, or an estate plan I don't want to talk about or think about dying, because I'm a farmer and I'm never retiring and I'm never dying, right? So it is challenging to get them to see the light, and so we do a lot of, I would say, educational events if we can, be in front of people, help them feel comfortable that it's just another conversation, it's another part of their business that's going to make it stronger if they have a good plan in place.
So who were role models for you growing up, or who are role models for you right now?
Well, growing up, my parents, I suppose. My mom actually started farming with my grandpa while my dad was managing an elevator. And then when my dad quit there, he, came back to the farm, and then they kind of swapped. She went and was a bookkeeper at the elevator for 25 years. So their hard work and love for agriculture was really inspiring to me. Today I get to work alongside the rest of my family, my sister, my brother, my leader, Russ. I'm sure a lot of people have heard of him. He is great in this business and a real mentor to me in the work that we do.
Agriculture is a lot of times misunderstood by people that aren't in it. If they're not in it, they don't understand it. How do we change that narrative? How do we get people to understand more about ag?
I guess just open your minds and try to educate yourself. There's plenty of people trying to serve that mission. I've been able to participate in a few podcasts of that nature. And don't be afraid to ask questions. If you don't understand, don't just assume that you know. These people love to talk about their livelihood and teach us. There are still plenty of things that I need to learn, and I love getting to ask those questions about various commodities I might not be very versed in, and people are always willing to share. It's almost like a brotherhood, sisterhood of people that want everyone to do well, versus trying to keep their best kept secret so that no one understands it. So I would say ask questions, be aware, don't make assumptions. There's a lot of different people reporting on all sorts of different things, agriculture being one of them, so make sure you check your sources, but be open-minded and continue to ask questions and want to learn.
So if you could go back and give your younger self some kind of career advice, would you change anything? What would you do?
Maybe not. I think that the fact that I didn't love the get dirty drive tractor like my siblings did led me here to be able to help in a different way, in a different capacity that I think is really important. Just work hard, be open-minded, keep your integrity. I guess those things I would never change. So I don't think so. I went to school for business, so that was very broad, so I never knew that I would, come here. But I don't think I would change too much, which is, I'm just self-reflecting now. Thanks for making me do that.
So if you could give any advice to other women in agriculture, what would you give them? What would you say to them?
Be informed. Don't sit back and just assume that everything will take care of itself. I work with a lot of families, and it might be a generational thing, it might be a situational thing, I don't know. But a lot of times the male in that operation is handling things, handling the finances, and then all of a sudden something bad happens and they have to step in and try to manage it, and they have to learn from ground zero sometimes. So don't be afraid to get involved. It doesn't mean you're stepping on their toes or trying to be in their business. It's just trying to educate yourself. This is what, don't be afraid to understand what's taking care of you. And I'm not saying that that's all women in agriculture, but sometimes that is the case. They're home raising the family, which is a really tough job, and being a farm wife is not easy. People in agriculture based jobs, thank you for all you do. Don't let that scare you. I think it's become more and more common to have females in this line of work, and I really appreciate it, and I love learning from all of you.
So looking back on your career, what are some things that really stand out that memorable moments, memorable things that you look back, you're really proud of?
I would say there have been more hugs than handshakes sometimes, and that's pretty rewarding when you are just helping these people in your job, but they get to know you, they get to trust you, and they leave hugging you, hoping you and your family are all well, and it's more than just a job at that point.
It's a lot about relationships, isn't it? I mean, you're building them every day.
Yeah.
I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Jamie.
You bet. That's Agriculture, the segment from the Red River Farm Network, celebrating women's role in agriculture throughout the month of March, and it's brought to you by Minnesota Soybean and Research and Promotion Council, Minnesota Corn Growers, and AgCountry Farm Credit Services.